What is climate change? Earth's climate is now changing faster than at any point in the history of modern civilization, primarily as a result of human activities. Global climate change has already resulted in a wide range of impacts across every region of the country and many sectors of the economy that are expected to grow in the coming decades. Life on Earth depends on energy coming from the sun. Most climate scientists agree the main cause of the current global warming trend is human expansion of the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect refers to the way the Earth's atmosphere traps some of the energy from the sun. Solar energy radiating back out to space from the Earth's surface is absorbed by atmospheric greenhouse gases and re-emitted in all directions. It has become clear that humans have caused most of the past century's warming by releasing heat-trapping gases as we power our modern lives. Scientists believe we are adding to the natural greenhouse effect with gases released from industry and agriculture known as emissions, trapping more energy and increasing the temperature. The rapid rise in greenhouse gases is a problem because it's changing the climate faster than some living things can adapt to. Also, a new and more unpredictable climate poses unique challenges to all life. Even if we cut greenhouse gas emissions dramatically now, scientists say the effects will continue because parts of the climate system, particularly large bodies of water and ice, can take hundreds of years to respond to changes in temperature. It also takes greenhouse gases decades to be removed from the atmosphere.
The causes of climate change. Global warming is one of the major causes of climate change. Most climate scientists agree the main cause of the current global warming trend is human expansion of the greenhouse effect, warming that results when the atmosphere traps heat radiating from Earth towards space. Certain gases in the atmosphere block heat from escaping. Long-lived gases that remain semi-permanently in the atmosphere and do not respond physically or chemically to changes in temperature are described as forcing climate change. Gases such as water vapor, which respond physically or chemically to changes in temperature, as are seen as feedbacks. On Earth, human activities are changing the natural greenhouse. Over the last century, the burning of fossil fuels like coal and oil has increased the concentration of atmospheric carbon dioxide or CO2. This happens because the coal or oil burning process combines carbon with oxygen in the air to make CO2. To a lesser extent, the clearing of land for agriculture, industry, and other human activities has increased concentrations of greenhouse gases. Other activities, such as agriculture and deforestation, also contribute to the proliferation of greenhouse gases that cause climate change. While some quantities of these gases are a naturally occurring and critically part of Earth's temperature control system, the atmospheric concentration of CO2 did not rise above 300 parts per million between the advent of human civilization, roughly 10,000 years ago, and 1900. Today, it is at about 400 ppm, a level not reached in more than 400,000 years.
The effects of climate change. Global climate change has already had observable effects on the environment. Effects that scientists had predicted in the past would result from global climate change are now occurring: loss of sea ice, accelerated sea level rise, and more. Scientists have high confidence that global temperatures will continue to rise for decades to come, largely due to the greenhouse gases produced by human activities. Unfortunately, change will continue through this century and beyond. The magnitude of climate change depends primarily on the amount of heat-trapping gases emitted globally. Is that temperatures will continue to rise, and temperature will not be uniform over time. Another unfortunate phenomena would be that forestry season and growing season will lengthen, and it has been lengthening nationally since the 1980s. The third would be changes in precipitation patterns. Projections of future climate suggest that the recent trend towards increased heavy precipitation events will continue further. There will be more droughts and heat waves to be observed. Summer temperatures are projected to continue rising, and the reduction of soil moisture is evident. The fifth wide-scale threat is that hurricane-prone areas will have their hurricanes become even stronger and more intense than ever before. Sixth is that the sea levels will rise by 1 to 4 feet by the year 2100 as a result of added water from melting land ice and the expansion of seawater as it warms. And lastly, the Arctic will likely become ice-free. The Arctic Ocean is expected to become essentially ice-free in summer before mid-century. Ultimately, climate change affects everyone. It poses a fundamental threat to the places, the species, and it even affects people's livelihoods. The concept of global warming in the past isn't as understood or observed as it is today. Since the state of the earth has changed, it takes change to revert it back to its original state.
Pretty scary to think of all the dangers of climate change. In the past, we've learned together why we should care. But today, let's find out how to be proactive about the situation. One way to help against climate change is to drive less when you can. Rather than using your own personal car, try to carpool or use public transportation. If your destination is close enough, maybe even consider walking or riding a bike. Carbon dioxide is a major contributor to climate change, and vehicles are a large portion of the CO2 humanity produces. In fact, it's estimated that for every 2-mile car trip you take, 2 pounds of CO2 are put into the atmosphere. Please thank all those kids riding skateboards even though they won't get off my lawn. You can also help out by recycling and reusing things when you can. Rather than throwing things away, see if you can find another use for them or donate them to charity if the product is still good. Recycling helps fight climate change because it takes less energy to make a product from recycled products than starting from scratch. Also, consider buying things with less packaging in the first place or items that use recyclable packaging. This next one might be a little scary to everyone who has taken part in a war for the thermostat. But I challenge you to try and let your homes be a little warmer in the summer and a little colder in the winter, even if it's just a few degrees. Moving your thermostat up to 2 degrees in the summer and down to 2 degrees in the winter could eliminate an estimated 2,000 pounds of CO2 in a year. Your diet can also play a part in the climate change battle. Considering eating less meat when you can, as the animal agricultural industries emit a large amount of greenhouse gases. The livestock sector, which includes things like feed production and transport, is responsible for around 14% of all the greenhouse gas emissions around the globe. I'm not necessarily saying you need to go vegetarian or vegan, but maybe try things like meatless Mondays or pick a plant-based option for every one meal that you could. Another thing you can do is inspire others to join in the fight against climate change. This can simply be talking to your friends and family about the issues or organizing groups and events in your local community.